So many of you wanted me to do a part 2 and so I shall. Thankfully this movie doesn't have any hybrids, so I don't have to think too long on creating some accurate amalgamation. Might have to do so in the future though. In today's video I'm going to be discussing how the plot of Jurassic Park 3 would have gone if every dinosaur there was accurate. Spoiler ahead of time, there's going to be more than one ending. So no more roid rage sailbacks that can just destroy a plane and tank T-Rex bites, or raptors that can trick humans and have skills that would make any surgeon jealous. If you want to leave suggestions of your own, you could do so in the Discord, and take part in all sort of events our server host. However, I have some bad news for you guys. This is totally my fault by the way, because I haven't been managing my time that well. But it looks like the first gaming video is going to be pushed back to next week. Again, I do apologize. Was really busy when I came back home. I didn't really have the energy to record and edit hours of gameplay, but I will be free Saturday and Sunday, so you guys should be seeing the video sometime next week. Anyway, I've dragged all of this out long enough, let's get into it. To keep things short and sweet, in the beginning an accurate Spinosaurus wouldn't be able to just catch up to a speedboat in the middle of the ocean. Well, not in the middle of the ocean, but you get it. And just cleanly grab the captain, leaving a bloodstain. The reason I say it's the Spinosaurus is because the Pteranodons weren't released, and no marine reptiles were made in or around Sorna at the time. However, Spinosaurus, if somehow in that exact spot, has the bulk to destroy a boat that small and kill the two people there. Because let's be honest, if it wasn't, then the movie ends before it even starts, so Eric still lands on Sorna and his stepdad dies from whatever he did. Pretty sure it wasn't any dinosaurs that killed him. Won't get too deep into the herbivores, at least in the beginning of the movie, because it's not really relevant seeing that Grant and everyone else is just flying over them. So the accurate Brachys, Trikes, Stegos, etc. would just be there. But when they land on the island, it gets interesting. Think you all know what happens once they get off that plane. So it's about time we de-Hollywood the Spinosaurus. We're gonna make it shorter, much less upright, although it still had the ability to walk as a biped. But its weight is gonna stay the same. Yup, 87 in Jurassic Park 3 was anywhere between 8.2 and 8.4 tons. Only until Camp Cretaceous did he reach the 10-ton mark. And Spinosaurus aegypticus in large specimens could approach the upper end of 8 tons. Speaking of, there's been a new specimen found which has been given a weight of 11 tons. But that's unconfirmed and still has a lot more studies to be done until it's confirmed. So the 8-ton range will remain. Now the accurate Spinosaurus will have some advantages over the movie version. For example, swimming, better center of gravity, and well, that's it. It's now slower, has a weaker bite force, not as powerful, and much less durable. In the movie, the Spinosaurus has a deep hatred for the human race, like no normal animal should. To this day, nothing in the trilogy hates us like him. Like any normal animal, if it had the power and was hungry enough, would try to kill you, and if you got away, then that's the end of it. But this thing had an almost supernatural ability to track down the cast no matter where they went on the island. No predator, even the T-Rex, who has possibly the best sense of smell of any theropod, almost 5 times stronger than the turkey vulture, could have tracked down Grant and the others like 87, so that wasn't natural. And like I said, no real animal is going to go through so much trouble. I think there has been some very rare cases where some animals have shown vengefulness. Like the Siberian tiger that tracked down the hunter who injured it when it wasn't fatally shot, and it ate him, but that's very rare. Theropods are smart, no doubt, some obviously a lot more than others, but the Spinosaurus was one of the more basic ones. Smart enough to adapt well to its environment, fish, and avoid competition from other megatheropods like the Carcharodontosaurus. It did have a big brain, but in terms of intelligence, at least from what I could find, it places their overall IQ a little more than alligators. Not even monitor lizard level, which are the smartest lizards alive today. Tegus to be more specific, while aren't really monitors, they are closely related, and they are thought to be the smartest of the bunch. I should know as I had one. Unfortunately, one day he got out of his enclosure and got eaten by something. Which is what my family told me at least, but I know Speckles, yes, my golden Tegu was called Speckles, you know, after the goat, was secure in his enclosure and my folks weren't too keen on him, saying I should just, let him loose. So part of me thinks someone just let him go. I don't know though, maybe he did actually escape and get eaten by a hawk or something. Guess we'll never know. Sorry about that sidetrack folks. Anyway, what I'm getting at is that while animals do have the ability to recognize patterns and remember faces, they won't fully commit to revenge like 87. Yes, they would be more aggressive to humans because of their experience with them, but likely won't go through all the trouble 87 did. So the real Spinosaurus isn't doing all that. But that's about it for 87 for now. Let's see how things would play out. So immediately after 87 is getting put down by those guns, while the actual gun used was a Barrett M82A2, the movie said it was an Einhorn 20mm, which isn't a real weapon. However, since it's canon in the movie, it's canon here. The dinosaurs may now be real, but everything else stays. This firearm has some explosive rounds, so even one shot to the body would be enough to make an accurate Spinosaurus rethink its options, and 2 more to the body would stop it in its tracks. But for the sake of this video's length, let's say everyone misses the shot and Koopa somehow trips and falls behind. Everyone's getting on that plane and oh wait, what's this? Cooper makes it back. Yeah, the real Spinosaurus likely couldn't get any faster than 40 miles per hour. There were some posts saying in short bursts it can get up to 20, but I'm highly skeptical, considering the stress the animal's weight would place on the bones if it ran that fast. But you know what, let's give Cooper another handicap because fuck Cooper. That's the best thing I could say. The plane takes off and the Spinosaurus catches up with a limping Cooper and eats him. The plane is going to gash his upper leg and cause a lot of bleeding. It won't just immediately clot like in the movie version. Also, reptiles, especially crocodiles, have the ability to stop bleeding very quickly, a good reason why you see a lot of them surviving their hands, legs and even jaws being ripped off. However, crocodilians and theropods aren't that closely related. You know what, if I just end it here, the video is going to be too short. Let's just say the Spinosaurus is just incredibly territorial, like very territorial, and goes over to the crash plane. Well, firstly, it's not getting up that high because even upright it is decently shorter than 87. Let's say the 8-ton megaceropod manages to shake the plane out of the tree somehow. What's next? Realistically, everyone's gonna escape. But again, to make the video somewhat longer, let's say Acid 87 pursues them to the edge of the natural barrier. What happens next? Well, a lot actually. Bull this time isn't just gonna stare at the group. As an accurate T-Rex, he would just be able to see everyone just fine. However, would view them more of a nuisance instead of prey at the moment, considering the giant meal in front of it. Would honestly treat them the same way apex predators like wolves treat animals that want to scavenge off their kills like coyotes. Give them like a mock charge to chase them away, or actually chase them for a while and then just back off. This works pretty well actually, because just as Bull's chasing them near the edge of the opening, he is likely going to head back to his kill, but there's 87 who somehow, even as an accurate Spinosaurus, makes his way in. I tried my best to prolong the video as much as I could. I killed Cooper, and I brought the Spinosaurus this far, but folks, I'm sorry to say that 87's involvement in the story ends here. Bull at the time was a bit smaller than 87, but not by a lot. At most a ton lighter, but seeing how close they were in terms of length and height, a T-Rex in similar proportions would weigh a lot more due to bulk. But you know what, let's say it's a few hundred kilograms lighter, the Spinosaurus still loses here. There is no bulge resistant hide here to save it from every bite of the young T-Rex. He would have a bit more stability, but that's about it. T-Rex's jaws were the most powerful on the planet, aside from certain crocodile morphs and of course some ocean creatures, but for a purely terrestrial predator it was unmatched. If Bull landed a bite as clean as he did in the movie when the things weren't accurate, the Spinosaurus is going to stay on that floor. But even if he gets out as that, it's just a losing battle. Unlike the movie, the arms weren't curled in. They were more to the side to aid in fishing and could slash, but to grab the neck of another large theropod and break it, it just wouldn't happen. Aside from the positioning, even Egypticus didn't have that much arm strength to snap a T-Rex's neck in one go. Granted, the Spinosaurus would still land some good hits in on a slightly small T-Rex, but victory would still go to the accurate Rex. Would need to be a bit more substantial weight difference for the outcome to be different. I already helped 87 by not making the T-Rex bigger, so at least he got some more shot-ins than he would if he faced a Scotty-sized Rex. Part of me wanted to say both would just walk away, but in some cases wild animals will fight to the death if they are of similar sizes and it's over territory or food. Usually this is between the same species, but sometimes two different ones can have this happen. And since both of these animals are evenly matched, and 87 is so territorial even for a real animal, the fight could have likely been to the death, or taken so far that when the loser walks away, they will later succumb to their injuries. After that entire scuffle, Bull is just gonna ignore everyone, and go back to his meal, but more so to rest instead of eat because, like I said, he's still taking a good amount of damage. With nothing chasing them, the plot remains the same so far, but this time Nash has his phone. Also, it's very unlikely they'd get a signal in the jungle this deep, so the entire plot remains the same until they stumble across the raptor nest. Okay, so this time I'm gonna make them Achilobators instead of Deinonychus per your request. That's what a surprising amount of you were saying. The movie's raptors were about 320, 340-ish pounds, and the more conservative Achilobator specimens were at least 500 pounds, but you know what? What's an extra 150 plus pounds in exchange for speed, durability and intelligence? Yup, as I covered in my last video, Dromaeosaurs weren't these Einstein dinosaurs that could trick humans and such like the park raptors. They were smart for sure in terms of dinosaurs, but more of this intelligence went into hunting and other adaptations to catch prey. At best, I'd say the Achilobator was as smart as a scarlet macaw in terms of raw IQ, which is almost way too generous based on everything we found. You know what, I'm actually more comfortable giving these guys monitor levels of intelligence. And another issue with the Achilobator in the movie setting is gonna be the pack thing. This Dromaeosaur has even less evidence of it hunting in packs like the Deinonychus, and since theropods are so closely related to birds, I'd say that there could be a mating pair in that area that mate for life like raptors we have alive today, where one usually guards the nest while the other goes out hunting. But seeing that these animals weren't naturally placed here and were instead kept together by engine, there could be a chance of them sticking together for this set of circumstances. Very unlikely that all of them would just abandon the eggs though, at least one member would be in the vegetation watching everything, and when it sees the group it's gonna hiss or make some soul crushing sound, causing everyone to just bolt, or at least it will chase everyone out of the area, but not too far, since after a certain distance it would hold back to stay with the eggs. If it was ambushing, then yeah, it would have caught someone, but this time it isn't about food, so the element of surprise would be lost. If it really tried, then it would be able to catch someone though, since it could run up to an estimated 26 miles per hour, so Billy would get killed. You know what? He does here, because they aren't Usain Bolt, and no adrenaline is gonna make him react fast enough to see this thing coming. Billy doesn't get to steal any eggs today, sorry to say. In the chaos, everyone might go to the lab area and take a breather, and if some of the pack members are there patrolling the territory, then everyone's gonna have to run again. However, there won't be any elaborate trap like Quilliam made in the movie, because the real things don't have those levels of prediction, like Quilliam, who knew the crew would go there and waited behind the test tube. More than likely it's just gonna be a routine territory sweep, and they just happen to come across everyone. A chase is gonna happen, but if they somehow manage to scatter into the Hadrosaurus herd, everything's staying mostly the same, because while real Hadrosaurus could fight back, that's only as a last resort. They're like zebras basically. First option is to run, and the Achillobators would likely still target the humans since they're easier prey. In the chase, Odeski is straight up getting killed this time. Like, there isn't any using him as bait, he's now food. And if any of the other raptors are out and about, Eric's tear gas would save Grant, because smoke grenades don't just affect visibility, the fumes cause serious respiratory issues if just inhaled, which would make the animals confused and likely back away. Before this, the Dromaeosaurus wouldn't even ponder the group in the tree. After like an hour they just give up. They still have a mega nest to go back to and a packmate to give food. But like I said, that's if they actually form the pack instead of just splitting up, and at most just forming pairs spread out across different areas on the island. So far the people we have dead are Connor because, actually I don't know, I guess this one was just for the plot. Billy's dead because he got killed by the nest watcher while he was trying to steal eggs, and Odeski is the slowest even with Nash alive, so he gets picked off. I don't know what to tell you folks, but the movie's finished here. Sorry, but they make it off now. After Eric and Grant traveled down the river, the worst thing that could happen was if a bull Bracky got slightly aggressive, but that's it. Everyone meets up, even without the phone, because let's be real, they'd still find themselves regardless even if Acid 87 wasn't that close. And they'd make their way to somewhere that has a signal and the embassy is gonna pick them up. The Raptors in the movie only followed them so far onto the beach because they wanted their eggs back. Even if Achillobator's eggs were stolen, after a while these normal animals would count their losses and move on, since they have to do what's best for the remaining eggs left. And since that specific Dromaeosaur pack was able to make all that noise and just pull up casually, it's safe to say that there are no other packs in that area, meaning everything is going smooth. If you're wondering about the Pteranodons, those won't really be an issue. Jurassic Park's version in this movie had a 30-foot wingspan and weighed over 220 pounds, compared to the real thing that had like a 22-foot wingspan and at the very largest weighed 140, with the average being around 110. I mean, I'd guess they'd be aggressive since they have chicks in the area, but no predatory chasing to that degree would take place. They gotta be really desperate to do that. And if once on the floor on all fours, Grant or possibly even Eric could kill or cripple one with their bare hands. Crazy how much more shorter and simpler a movie is when everything's accurate and not just drawn out. No vengeful kaiju Spinosaurus and no overdriven raptors who got so far because of some eggs. If I'm going to be honest, this movie should have ended within like the 20-minute mark. Like, unless the Spinosaurus was really close to the boat, it isn't killing anyone. So the search party never would have been gathered, and even when it shows itself, enough rounds from the movie guns would bring it down. I just gave it the benefit of the doubt for most stuff. The same with the Dromaeosaurus too. It's much more likely for it to just be a pair of group encounters instead of a full-on pack like modern raptors. But I had to give them the pack buff since it's a possibility due to them being raised together for so long. I didn't feel the need to mention the Ceratosaurus since Nash is alive and has the phone, so they won't really need to go digging around through poop where the Ceratosaurus was. In my last video I said a real T-Rex can't beat Ingen's Megaceropods like the Indominus and the Spinosaurus, and now in this video I'm saying an accurate T-Rex even at party would kill an accurate Spinosaurus. Yet people are still gonna be mad, you can't win on either side. Also, I will never forget the comments under that video of people saying a real T-Rex had a 100-ton bite force and could run 33 miles per hour. You T-Rex fans do make my day sometimes. But the truth is, based on the niche of these two different Megaceropods and how they're built, it's clear that a real T-Rex beats an accurate Spinosaurus. So that's all for now folks. Get this video to 2,000 likes and I'll have a video like this up by next week, but for the lost world.